We have an exciting new addition to our solar cooking tools, and I thought that you might like to see it. It's this one, the Tulsi Hybrid Solar Cooker. This was made by the Sun BD Corporation circa 2007. Apparently that company had manufacturing both in the US and in India, and this is the Indian version. We have not tried the electric backup yet, but it seems to be, from the manual, which I did find online, something you can do with a solar panel and a battery. So we'll let you know how that goes in future videos. It was already afternoon the first day it arrived, so rather than trying to cook, we quickly washed it up, put it outside to dry some soap wort for shampoo. This was the weather condition that day, partly cloudy, partly sunny, and it has done a beautiful job. The volume of plant material that could be spread out in the oven for drying was impressive. This oven arrived needing a little bit of maintenance. I haven't got the prop that would hold it open, which is how I dry with it venting, repaired yet, so we're using the old-fashioned rock prop method, and it worked fine. The next sunny day we tried focaccia, and that went well too. After describing the oven's behavior, I will give you the recipe at the end of this video. Compared to a sun oven, this oven is very wide, and front to back and side to side, and very shallow, many inches shorter. So I was actually really delighted by this because I have a Pampered Chef pizza stone that makes bread wonderful. It improves the texture quite a lot in my opinion, but it doesn't fit in my sun oven. So I was excited to be able to try it here, and it fits beautifully, as you can see. And in fact, it did make much better textured, very delicious focaccia. This glass door is supposed to be double paned, held together with silicone caulk. And it arrived double paned, but the caulk is worn out. And when I preheated the oven for the focaccia, the panes came apart. One of them is still nicely attached to the frame. One of them is now leaning up in the shed. Since I had already preheated the oven and the bread was risen, I just went ahead and put it in, figuring it was a super sunny day and we would test how it does with one pane. And in fact, it did very well. It stayed between 210 and 225 for the approximate hour of cooking time. And I should point out, if you haven't ever used a pizza stone to cook on, that in every kind of oven, that does tend to lengthen cooking time as well as lower the oven temperature a little bit because it's a substantial enough piece of crockery to absorb a lot of heat. I think that's why it works so well, is that the bread is getting exposed to this really even, mild heat. But that's a simple fact about it. So we will repair the door and see what kind of temperatures we can get thereafter and do this experiment again. But for now, this was a success. And for those of you who might also want to cook focaccia at relatively low heat, I will now show you how I made this. Any flour will do, but I used 2 cups of spelt flour, along with 2 scoops, that's roughly 1/2 cup total, of soy protein powder. A little bit of salt, and my dry active yeast is already dissolved in some warm water. About 1/2 cup of warm water, which I pour in after I put in the oil. It's a couple tablespoons. Then there goes the water, and mix it by hand. 2 cups of flour takes more than 1/2 cup of water total, but that's what I do first, and then add the remainder by feel as it seems appropriate. And there is a lot of feel to successful bread making. At first, when you start to mix, you feel almost the individual flour grains, and then gradually it gets softer and smoother, and you learn what it's supposed to feel like pretty quickly, actually. If you think you can't, you can actually, because after there's enough water, we'll knead for several minutes. I usually only knead for about 5, and it goes from a grainy sort of texture, particularly using whole grain flour, which I am, my spelt is whole grain, to a soft satiny texture that's springy. And you can feel that happening. There won't be much question in your mind. When people are with me, which hasn't happened lately, but when they are, they say, "How will I know?" And I say, "Just keep going." And then they say, "Oh, I see." It really is quite obvious to your fingers. A little note about the protein powder. It is not an essential part of the recipe. We like our bread to be high protein, so that's a good idea for us. But if you don't want to add it, simply use about half a cup extra flour over what I described. So now I'll be kneading for about 5 minutes. By now I'm finishing up, and you can even see the looks of the bread are smoother and more silky. So we form it into a nice ball. I always oil it before covering it to rise so as to prevent it from drying out. I also put a towel over it while it rises, but I think a coating of oil really helps. Again, particularly true of whole grain flour. This took about an hour to get about double in size, but that is going to be highly dependent on the specifics of your yeast, flour, and weather. So it's better to keep an eye on it than to go strictly by the clock. Once the dough has risen nicely, place it on the pizza stone and start spreading it out to fill. I'm going to make this relatively thin because I want it to be able to cook fast enough that it'll still be soft. And there is a tendency for spelt to get a little dry and hard. So it stands to reason the thicker your dough, the longer it's going to take to get hot all the way through and to finish cooking. So we're going thin. This time I'm just using my hands. You can use a rolling pin if you want to, and sometimes I do. I nudge the edges together to make them a little thicker around the edge because I'll be putting some oil on the top, and I want a dam so that it doesn't run all over the place. Here I found some places that were a little bit thin and a little bit thick, so I'm readjusting the proportions of dough by nudging it around. Dough is very forgiving. Once I'm satisfied, cover it with a cloth and allow it to rise again until about double in thickness. Now make some little dimples to hold the toppings, which is going to be oil and this time bagel seasoning. Normally I control the oil a little better than I did here. It slipped and I got a little more than I wanted, but it'll be okay. I'll just have to clean up around the edges because it's going to drip off a little bit, and follow the oil with bagel seasoning. Now it's ready to go in the oven, and as I think I mentioned, it took about an hour at between 210 and 225. We ate this with Wakatai sauce, and it was absolutely delicious. Wakatai is also called Peruvian black mint, and it's actually a marigold, a tagetes. If you're unfamiliar, that's not surprising. It's not much grown in North America, but it will grow very well here. It's a popular seasoning in South America. I read about that. I was growing it for other reasons because it's also good for garden pest control and it has some medicinal history as well. But who wants to miss out on a potentially delicious sauce? So I read all about various methods of making it, came up with one that worked based on the ingredients that I had in the garden, and we just loved it. I will make another video about that because I am sure we are not the only ones who will get a kick out of this.